How's it going, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the Zippy Tuck CM scales and spacer mod. So I've already done one handle. This is the Zippy scales with Zippy spacers, and I've left the other handle. We're going to disassemble this, clean it, and then reassemble it with the Zippy mod together. We'll see if I can do this in one go. So you'll need a T8 to start unscrewing the spacer screws. And at this point, you can just take out the white spacer there. Just hook something in, and it'll slide right out. And then for the pivot, again, T8. If you had already tightened the grub screw, you may need to loosen it a bit. You can use either a 1.5 millimeter Allen key to do that, or a T6. And then we'll just unscrew the pivot there. It's going to be a longer video because I'm going to go through cleaning it as well. My tux needs a good cleaning to make sure I have a good handle swing. Every time you disassemble to install new scales and stuff, it's a good idea to clean because lint and debris can get in there and bind things up. So you can see it's already starting to fall apart. I'm just taking the handle right off, and then it'll just come right out. We can put this to the side. Oh, actually, before I forget, I'll say the scales, as of right now, as of the time of filming this video, are coming in gray, and that's because you can rit dye them. So I dyed this green. You can see it doesn't take the dye super well, but more than black would. Black would take no dye at all. So if you damage them, if they get scuffed up and the black starts showing underneath the gray, or if you just want to do a sick fade or something, you can rit dye them if you want. These I'm just going to leave stock for now. Anyway, you can see that my tux is pretty filthy, so let's give that a good cleaning. I've just got a paper towel. If you have a microfiber cloth, something that won't shed, that's even better, but I'm using 91% IPA with just a paper towel. I'm soak that. I'm just going to clean every surface that the washers interface with. So the pivots around the blade, give that a good clean. I'm going to get into the bore as well, because this is a washer knife. Actually, I get into the bore on my bushing knives as well. Everyone should. It makes a big difference when you're cleaning. All right, blade's clean. Let that evaporate a bit. We'll do each of the washers. Dirty. Until the washers have no more gunk on them. Got one washer stuck to the inside here, so grab that. Both washers spick and span. And now I'm going to do the scales themselves. This area of the towel is dirty, so I'm going to start somewhere new. You can see even some lubricant and gunk got on the top of the scales. We'll clean that as well. You can separate them if you want, makes it a little easier. Getting a lot of gunk. It's definitely going to swing smoother now. Cleaning is important because it'll let you get a tighter tune for the same free handle swing. And me, I like very tight tunes, which is why the tuck surprises me. It's a washer Balisong. The no Loctite pivots that Jimpy put in there are very effective at making good tune. Essentially, kind of in some ways turns it into a bushing Balisong as far as tuning goes. Anyways, all the surfaces are clean now, so we're gonna go ahead and reassemble. You can just put these back together just like that. At this point, we can put the scales on the liners. So to do that, just slide them in like so. And then everything should line up there. You can see my Zen pins were not aligned, so I had to push it back together. Everything looks good now though. Cool. So first step, we're going to lube this up. I'm going to use some nano oil. I'm actually using 10 weight nano oil right now, but any lube you have on hand is going to do the trick. I put some lube in the bore as well, where the washer sits on the other side as well. And now I'm just going to stick a washer on each side. I'm just going to flip it over. I'd like to use the same side that's been touching the blade. It's really the main sliding interface. I don't really want the washers to rotate against the scales. I put some lube there in case they do, but really you want it rotating against the blade. All right, and now I'm just gonna slide my handle on. Just make sure that it goes over both washers. I think mine's a little jammed with the Zen pin, so I'm going to try and open it up right here at the Zen pin. This is not something that happened on the other handle, so I'm just making it up as I go right now. Let's try this again. I think one of these liners got in too much. All right, let's try this again. I just want it a little further out. All right. And if this happens to you, just follow the same steps. You can see I've turned my channel into a Y channel. For assembly, this is okay. We will fix that though. I got some debris on my washer, so wipe that off. I'm just gonna spread all the lube around. We'll add some more. I can actually see like lint on my washer. I really don't want anything in between the washer and the blade. It's just gonna slow it down. All right, let's try this again. So we'll put this on. You can see my channel's completely out of line, but I can just snap it together and now it's good. Everything's parallel, so that's good. If you have a pivot needle, now would be the time to use it. I'm embarrassed to say I don't have one yet. So we're just gonna line everything up. Get the pivot sex bolt. Just gonna clean this real quick. Forgot to do that. Do want that to be clean. And we're just gonna slide it in. I'm gonna redo my alignment because you can see everything's out of alignment. Push the washer back in. You want to just take it slow. That's why I said this is gonna be a longer video. Don't rush it. You can get really good tolerances out of tuxes if you give it some TLC and just take your time. If you rush it, you could scratch a washer, scratch the blade, and that'll affect how tight of a tune you can get with a handle swing. I'm sure Jimpy puts these together a lot faster than me, but got nowhere to be today, except here. And ideally, I'd like to start being able to push this through. I promise you, I did the first handle a lot faster. I'm just nervous in front of the crowd watching me right now. Line everything up again. Okay, you hear the snap. I made it through the first washer. Now I gotta make it through the blade. It's hard to do this while keeping it on camera. But you guys can fast forward through this part. I cannot. Got it through the blade. And we'll just line up the last washer here. Push it through the last washer. Sometimes it just needs a good wiggle. I'm just gonna find where it's overlapping. Push it out. And we're through. Cool. All the way through. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take my T6 now, loosen up the grub screw. If you pull it all the way out, it's just a normal little grub screw, 1.5 millimeter hex, but I find that maybe it is Torx. Well, a hex works, but it'll strip it easier. My Torx works better. All right, now I'm gonna install the spacer. So put my lubricant away. Something to know about the spacer, it's got adjustable weights. So I'm going to just show you how to do that. I usually take the tip of a retractable pen here with the pen depressed, and I just push the weight in like so. And if you want to take the weight out, you can just take some rigid pointy object. I use this, it's from a gun cleaning kit. You can get them on Amazon for like $5 and just pop it out. I'm gonna install it with no weights right now, but we'll just open this up and slide the spacer in. That hole should line up. Take this X bolt, I'm gonna wipe it off real quick. Shouldn't have any grease, but yeah, clean as a whistle. And we'll just put it through. Boom. Too easy. So now I'm gonna take one of these screws and my T8. And this is a simple part here. You're just gonna screw it in until this X bolt starts spinning. You don't need any tighter than that. So you literally just screw it in until you can't anymore. My X bolt is spinning, so I know I'm good. And now it's time to tighten the pivot. So I'm gonna do this, we're gonna go through tuning this thing together because some people maybe haven't done this before. Back up my grub screw. All right, I just tightened it as much as I could, and the handle's gonna bind. It's gonna basically not budge. Yeah. All right, so now I'm just gonna essentially incrementally loosen it until I have a free handle swing. You can go in very tiny amounts, and sometimes you just need to like wiggle things. So I'm just gonna wiggle, test. That's a pretty good swing. I'm actually gonna try and tighten it now, just a little bit. Wiggle it, make sure it's good. Yeah, there's a little bit of binding there. You can see that. So I'm gonna just undo that hair of a turn I did before. Test again. Feels like a good handle swing. I'm gonna test the play. Yeah, it feels pretty tight. Actually, let me just spread out the lube a bit. I think I can go a little tighter on this because my other handle, tight as a frog's ass. All right, lube should be spread out. Let's tighten it just like a 1/16 of a turn. Do I still have? Yeah, I'm gonna do it one more time. Right on the edge of the blade here. If you're not anal about your tunes and your play, you don't really need to worry about this. So I have no free swing. I'm gonna make sure everything's just like aligned. I'm gonna wiggle it a bit. Try it again. Yeah, that's too tight, so back it off a hair. Still a little sticky. Back it off another hair. It's a little sticky, but I think it'll loosen with time as the washers wear. And I can always add more lube. It's pretty free, and that's where I'm gonna leave it right now. So now with your 1.5 millimeter Allen key or your T6 driver, you can just tighten down that grub. If you tighten down the grub screw against pivot screw, you can just do it until it starts spinning like that. Now that pivot screw is going to have pressure against it, and it's not going to want to move. But in doing so, I actually tightened up my handle a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and just back off my pivot screw a very tiny amount. Free swing. Let me make sure I'm happy with the play. It's not much. It is more than my other handle, but I do want it tighter. I like both handles having the same level of no play. That feels pretty good. All right, I'm gonna retighten the grub screw. Cool, grub screw tightened. And I've got a free swing. There you go. One thing I like to do after I've done this is I then go ahead and give the pivot screw another turn to make sure it's like nice and tight up against the grub screw. To do this really effectively, you want to put a flathead on the other side. So I'm just going to lock this in place with a flathead and make sure my pivot screw is like fully tightened up against it, and that way the grub screw is really going to do its job. It's fully abutted against the screw, and it will act as a very effective thread locker. I might not need to tune this again for a while. All right, feels tight. Sometimes it can tighten up though with that, so let me make sure I still have my handle swing. Feels good. Very little play. I'll show you guys the tune I was able to get from the tucks here. Steady the camera. All right, here we go. This is the play on my tucks. Pretty much unheard of for any other washer Balisong. You can get something like that out of a squid trainer, but it'll last, well, the 3.5 before they added bushings, it'll last all of 5 minutes. So, yeah, it's a little sticky. Let me add some lube. I think I can get that handle swing nice with just a little more lube in there. Spread the lube around. But yeah, because of the no Loctite pivots, you can essentially get a bushing or bushing level tune. Functions mechanically, you know, the same way, if not geometrically, but functionally, not mechanically. Mechanically, it's different. Functionally, it's the same. All right, let's see. Plays non-existent handle swing, pretty good. This is actually maybe like a little tighter than you might want it, but I think it'll loosen up a little bit as the bronze phosphor washer is wearing. If I wasn't on video, I would just loosen it. Well, let's just do it. We're gonna loosen it up, very slight amount, and then retighten against the grub screw. Ooh, I just made it worse. But this is good. This is good to demonstrate these relationships on camera. All right, we're gonna just loosen it. Man, oh man. It's being finicky with me today, but that's because I'm trying to really fly close to the sun. I want as good a tune as I can possibly get. It'll probably be easier for you. This is actually the hardest it's ever been for me. So let me just undo the grub screw here. See what we can do. Redo this process. If you don't care about the play, then this really doesn't matter to you, but for me, if I have a Balisong like the Tux that I know can get a perfect tune, then I'm gonna put in the time to do it. Feels pretty good. You just tighten to like very, very, very light resistance. That's usually a good spot for it. I told you this video wouldn't be quick. All right, we're gonna put there. Tighten that grub screw back up. Yeah, maybe I just shouldn't tighten this at the end. It worked for me before, but I think I'm just getting greedy. That's really what's going on. Don't get greedy, folks. Tighten the grub screw. I swear this will be the last time I do this. Boom. All right, free handle swing. Very little play. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's worse than before, but I know I have some good handle swing. Let's try and tighten that. All right. Ta-da, very little play on a Tux. Anyway, that's it. You can take the spacers out without doing a full disassembly, so I'll do that now. We'll just take the spacer out that I just put in. If you want to adjust the weight, here's how you do it. Unscrew that, pop this out, pull the spacer out, and then you're free to add or remove weights, and then you just put it back in. Hopefully you'll never need to disassemble your tux again. Unless you really need to clean it. So that's that. We've gone through the full disassembly, cleaning, and installation of the Zippy mod on the tux. Tolerances are pretty good. It's a tux. Still has tap. Anyways, cheers guys, thanks.